Good morning. This is Brock, and this is our first lecture during the online transition after spring break for EELE 461 and 561. So, what we're going to do is we want to just kind of move slowly into this transition. So, I'm just going to provide a video, very short video, and it's just the point of it is just to have you get used to logging on, watching a video, doing a little homework on here, and the homework is just going to be a little checking in quiz. And so, yeah, that's it. This transition is going to be potentially stressful, but MSU is committed to making sure that we're not going to end classes. We're going to kind of limp along, do the best that we can so that everybody can make progress toward their degrees. No one's graduation is going to be held up by this. No one's semester progress is going to be held up by this. You will make it. And what we're going to do in this class, every class that you take is going to be a little bit different. This class is going to be pretty straightforward because it's kind of a traditional 400, 500 level class in the fact that it's a lot of me writing on a whiteboard, you do some homework that you write out, and stuff like that can be easily handled with, me making a video of me writing out notes on a piece of paper instead of doing it on a whiteboard. And then you do homework just like normal. You download a PDF, you write it, and then to upload it, it's as simple as just taking a picture of it with your phone and uploading images to the website. Or if you have access to a scanner, you can scan it. But the thing I've learned with online education or online teaching is don't try to make everything super complicated. You don't need to go buy a fancy microphone and webcam. You don't need to go buy a scanner. Everything we can do is going to be as simple as just snapping pictures on with your cell phone. And you know what? What's funny is a lot of people are just freaking out right now because they want to like set up these studios in their houses and have high resolution cameras. And it's like, you know what? People forget that we also have telephones. So that smartphone you carry around. If you want to talk to me, you can actually just call me, and nobody even thinks about that anymore. You actually probably don't even know what that is. The thing you carry around, that smartphone, there's a feature on it called a phone, and it's actually everybody has a number, and you actually can dial a number and talk to somebody, and you hear their voice. So it's an audio thing. A lot of people don't know about that. That was actually one of the original purposes of the smartphone. So okay. So anyway, a couple things I want to update you on. They have decided, and the Montana University system has decided that if you would like, you can choose to take a pass-fail grade in all your courses this semester. Okay. And what this means is basically up to 5 days before the end of the semester, you just fill out a little form with the registrar and you can take a pass-fail grade on this. And this is legit. The accreditation agency has approved this. And, the way I look at it is a pass is basically a C minus or better. So I guess from an engineering perspective, it's an option for you. So if you have an A in the class, you take the A. If you have a B in the class and it hurts your GPA, you'd probably decide to do a pass. So they're basically giving you the option. And I wouldn't worry about it in this class until the end. And I'll give you ample time at letting you know what your grade is in this class. Okay, so anyway, that's kind of what we're going to do going forward. What I want to show you though is basically what we were going to do for the rest of the semester, and then we'll talk about how we're going to modify that. So if I go out to grades, that's probably the best way to actually show you. So there's a new Homework 7 online check-in. That's going to be a multiple choice quiz that you're going to take after watching this video, and all it does is just ask you if you have a computer and stuff like that. Anyway, we have done the Blinky board fab, and I think all the boards are in my mailbox right now. I think everybody in the class finished this, and so they're sitting there. And what I did, or what I used to do in this class, is then I would have a homework assignment where everybody loads their boards. And so I have the parts for all these boards, and it was just to give people an opportunity to use a soldering iron. And I know some of you have used a soldering iron, but there are people that haven't used a soldering iron. So I figured, hey, go ahead and do that. And usually you just come into my lab and sit at our soldering station and load up these parts. Not a real tough assignment. You basically and we help you. So you load that up, and that was going to be a homework. And then we kind of moved back into some traditional lecture written out homework, and we looked at differential signaling, and this is where you have two signals and there's coupling between them. And we talked about crosstalk, near end crosstalk, far end crosstalk, and then we talked about how you can use that to your advantage by making a differential signaling link. And then we talked about TDR modeling, which is a piece. It's time domain reflectometry, and it's a piece of equipment that you launch an edge down a trace, and you look at the reflections. So you can think of it as you're basically doing a bounce diagram at node A on a link, and it's a measurement. And so you can simulate that. We use an ADS, but you can also measure it. And I have one of these instruments over in Cobley, and so it was cool. You know, you actually can model it, and then you go over and measure it, and everything was fine. And then we did have another exam, and the exam was basically on printed circuit board questions, thinking about like trace stack ups and trace impedance. And then it was on differential signaling and crosstalk, and then maybe a little bit on TDR. But there was a plan for another exam. Who knows if we'll have that. And then we had the project. So you can tell that we're kind of winding down in terms of material. So what we did is we did this project where you had a project description where you tell me what you're going to do. You do a PCB design, a TDR measurement, you do an ADS model, and then a 3-minute presentation. And what the project was is everybody in the class fabricated another printed circuit board that had some sort of signal integrity issue. Okay, and so as an example, this is like a PowerPoint presentation I made many years ago, but here's like an example of signal integrity issues. So these are printed circuit boards that students did, and you can see these little connectors where you use the TDR to launch down here. So this would be an example of a impedance discontinuity where you have a signal that comes really close to another signal and couples onto it. And the student was looking at whether, you know, there was this coupling impacted impedance. This student right here was looking at whether corners impacted the impedance. So if a 50 ohm trace, when it goes around a corner, does the corner make it a 60 ohm trace really momentarily? And then does a long trace do anything? And let's see, I'll show you. This is a screenshot from a TDR oscilloscope. So what everybody would do is they would come up with a signal integrity issue they wanted to study. They would build a printed circuit board. They would then take a measurement on it, and they would actually launch the signal down it. And then they would build a model in ADS and try to match it. So then at the end, they would say, okay, I've built this model of it. And then they'd give like a super short, no slides presentation in class. And that was it. That would be like the last month of class. And let me show you some of the other examples. This group looked at vias. So impedance discontinuity with respect to vias. Let's see. This was vias again. This one was just, they just built a printed circuit board. Didn't really have anything to do with the class, but yeah. So anyway, that was the plan. Okay, that was the plan. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make it up as we go along. So what I'm really looking for in this quiz is I'm asking you questions about, do you have a computer that is good enough to install EELE? Do you have a computer that's good enough to install ADS? If you do, then we can do some stuff. Okay. If you don't, not a big deal. If the whole class doesn't have access to computers that are good enough, that's not a big deal. We'll just kind of make it up as we go. This class has enough freedom in it that we can do anything. You know, if we get to a point where we can't use software, we can't fabricate any printed circuit boards, we can make this a really traditional 400, 500 level class where maybe we, read a paper, and maybe you record a video, or, maybe you write a little memo report. So anyway, I'm wrapping this video up right now. So what the end point is going forward in this class, we are going to make it up as we go along, and it's going to be based upon what access to technology that you have. And so that's what the point of this quiz is. And so everybody just take a deep breath and check in with the Brightspace page every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's a key part of being in an online class. The worst thing you can do in an online class is basically say, I'll just do this Sunday night, right? So the guidance that I give you is for all your classes, check in with these classes during the normal meeting time. So try to keep your normal schedule. And what I'll do with this class is I'll try to have a video every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or if I'm going to have a video that covers multiple lectures, I'll say that in the video. But what I'm expecting is that it's, this is your normal meeting time. So log in, watch the video, take that quiz. And then basically based on that quiz, we will decide what to do going forward. All right. Well, good luck. And that's it. See ya.